Your first year of golf is absolutely brutal. I would know, I've just completed it. If you're new to golf, this video will help you save months of frustration and a whole load of money. I'm not a scratch golfer, I just wanted to share what I've learned over the last year to help make your life better if you are just starting the game of golf. So here's how to survive year one. Set expectations. Just like with a lot of things, the progress in golf is not linear. You're likely to put in hours of practice and get no results. And it may feel like everything that you're doing just has no return, and you'll probably get worse before you actually get better. This is really frustrating, but the best way to manage this is to have the right expectations going into it. You don't need to define everything by how well you perform or even the good shots. Just set a plan, work towards that, and over time, you will see a gradual progress. Take a step back and set goals for the entire year. For me, my goals were to par a hole, birdie a hole, and break 100. Pretty wide targets there, and I was able to achieve those within 6 months of playing the game. I knew that whatever I was working on was getting me closer to that point. Take lessons. Taking lessons is really important, especially as you're just learning. When you first pick up a club, you have no idea how to swing it, what you're supposed to be doing, and you have no way to give yourself any feedback on how well or poorly you're doing. So it's really important to get a few lessons right from the start just to get the fundamentals down. You don't need to spend a ton on those. There are plenty of places that do group lessons for beginners, and even if you just take a few solo lessons, you only need to do 1 or 2. Get out and practice what they've told you, and then hopefully you'll see some form of improvement there. And make sure you practice between lessons. There's no point taking 1 lesson a week if you can't go out and practice. I recommend starting off at the range for a few weeks, get used to that initial swing, and then the sooner you can get out on the course, the better. Build a simple practice plan. Don't go out and just hit balls mindlessly. Personally, I quite like a structured approach to training. That's where I can stay the most consistent and really track how well I'm doing over time. If you're just at the range, you should break it down into a few different things to practice on. Try not to get in the habit of using the same club hitting ball after ball, because that won't really help in the long term. The best drill I like to work on for that is working my way up the bag. If I hit a good shot within a certain target range, I can then complete that club and then work on to the next one. Every club that I miss, I then go back to at the end and work my way through until I hit them all really nicely. That helps with some variability in the shots, and I don't get into a habit of just hitting the same club. You also shouldn't really be spending your life at the driving range. There is more to golf than just hitting range balls. I really like working on my short game. That was quite easy for me to have some focus on. For every 1 range session, you probably want to be spending at least 1 or 2 on the short practice area as well. So that is any work with chipping and then putting. If you can practice that at home as well, that takes out a lot of the stress of actually getting to a course to practice. And you probably want to keep track of what went well in each session. So in future sessions, you can then look back and see where you need to improve or adjust your focus. Short game is a cheat code. So many people neglect the short game, and I feel like it has a huge detriment to scoring, at least early on when you start playing. When I first went out, I didn't really know how to chip, and I had no control over any of the putt. And it just became a bit of a slog. Getting to the green was hard enough, and then I was wasting like 4, 5 shots just to get near the flag. So really focusing on your short game from like 100 yards in all the way to the flag is really going to help you. And there are so many fun drills that you can do, which makes it really engaging, and you can see some linear progress. I'd also recommend looking into Dan Grieve, who is the golf expert in short game. His videos and his book are really useful, and I leaned on that heavily to learn how to chip a ball properly. Also, if you can, get a putting mat, one with some lines on, so you can really see what's going well with your putting stroke and what you need to work on. You only need to do like 15-20 minutes of that a day, and you'll see some huge progress in your putting. Driver has potential to ruin your life. Now, I may be speaking from just personal experience here, but I find hitting my driver very difficult. And if you're not hitting it well, it is an instant round ruiner. So make sure that you can put some practice in on how to hit your driver well, but then also have something that you can fall back on if you're not hitting it particularly well that day. Personally, I go for my 4 hybrid, and I have some great success there. I can hit it relatively consistently. And actually my lowest scoring round was using my hybrid on the tee for everything. However, long term, that's not going to be a sustainable approach. So make sure you practice the driver and make sure you learn how to hit it safely with fewer penalty shots. get equipment cheaply. Golf is an expensive hobby. Everything seems to be extortionate as soon as you put the name of golf on the product. So the best thing for you to do is start off with as cheap as possible. Try and look for secondhand clubs. Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Golf Bidder, sites like that are really good for getting a set at an affordable price. You don't need the latest technology to be able to hit the ball. And then in terms of golf balls, you're gonna lose a lot of balls, so it makes no sense buying the top of the range expensive balls. That's gonna do you no good other than increase the pressure and just stress you out as soon as you lose it. So what I started off doing is using secondhand balls. Anything that I found on the course, I would use it until I lost it again. Yes, the quality of some of the balls was not good, but it took the pressure off. And I could just hit and not worry about the consequences. And in the long term, that freed me up to hit some better shots. Even at this point, I'm using cheap balls. I buy them off eBay, but I do now try and stick to the same sort of ball. So I'm currently using a Strixon soft feel, and that really helps stay consistent with the shots. I know what to expect every time I hit the ball. But right from the start, you don't need to be buying balls. You will find lots and lots of free balls along the way. And finally, for clothing, there is an expectation at most places that you dress appropriately, but that doesn't mean you need to buy new clothes. If you go on Vinted or eBay, for example, you can get secondhand clothes of really good quality for way under retail price. I think my first full outfit, so cap, trousers, shoes, and polo, all cost less than £50 in total. Learn basic course management. When you first step out on the course, it can be quite overwhelming. When I played my first ever round, I was really surprised of how far everything was away. There were some times where I couldn't even see the flag. Granted, I don't have great eyesight, but still, it was quite overwhelming. And there was an instant pressure to try and hit the ball as far as possible. And in doing that, I was often making many mistakes and not progressing the ball far at all. I was often getting myself into hazards, and a lot of that could have been resolved by just having basic course management. So if you have a club that you can hit relatively consistent, just use that for the time being. Get closer and then work your way through. So if you have a club that can go 150 yards, all you need to do is hit that 2, maybe 3 times and you're on the green. And then when you're around the green, don't go for the heroic shots. Aim for the biggest part of the green, avoid the bunkers where possible. The goal is just to get it on the green. Play more golf, but play the right kind of golf. There is a lot of pressure when you're first starting to play golf. You feel like everybody is watching and judging you as you play, and the only way to really get over that is to play more golf. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be counting your scores every time. You don't have to be submitting a scorecard every time you play. There are so many different formats of golf which can make it enjoyable and can take the pressure off. If you've got someone that you play with, a scramble is such a fun way to play. You can get multiple attempts at hitting the same ball from the same lie, and then you take the best shot. That takes the pressure off you needing to hit the best shot, and you get used to hitting the ball from good positions. That is an instant confidence builder. You can also play par 3 courses, which help with your short game. You can play 9 holes. You don't have to do a full round of 18. That helps with time. You can get more rounds in if you're struggling to find the time to fit a full 18 in. A few rounds of 9 holes a week is better than 1 round of 18 every few weeks. The key is not to make every round a test. Going back to a previous point, this progression isn't going to be linear. So you want to make sure that you're just getting plenty of practice in. You don't have to be strict on scoring, and you don't have to grade your round based on the score that you just submitted. Sometimes it's so much better just to go out, enjoy yourself, and remember the good shots. There will be some. Join a golf club. When I first started, I felt like I wasn't ready to join a golf club. I thought I wouldn't be good enough to fit in with everybody. But after a few months, I bit the bullet and I joined my local club. And it's been one of the best decisions I've made for my golf game. Why? Firstly, I can get regular tee times in, which just takes the pressure off having to organize the next round. You can join the competitions that they set up. Your handicap doesn't matter. As long as you don't take forever to play your shots, people don't care about your handicap. And in actual fact, having a high handicap in a team event is a good thing. Your team members will like you because as a group, you get more shots collectively. So even if you're not bringing something to the table actually on the course, your combined handicap will actually benefit the team. And that's an instant confidence builder because you'll feel like people want you on the team. And then as you progress and feel more comfortable, there will be shots that you play which will be better than everyone else's. And that's a win-win. I also feel like playing competitions early on is really good for learning golf etiquette and learning how to not play with intense pressure on your shoulders. Yes, the first few matches you play, you will be very nervous, but the more you do, the easier it becomes, and it's just another round of golf. And finally, you surround yourself with like-minded people. You'll be able to make friends and play golf with a whole load of new people, and then you can learn good habits from them. Everybody is really welcoming and wants you to do better. It's a really encouraging sport, so make sure you chat with people and throw yourself in there, and that's when you'll get the most out of it. The mental side of the game. It's important to not hate yourself. Golf is already hard enough before you start beating yourself down. So it's important to normalize the emotions. There will be times where you are nervous, there'll be times where you feel embarrassed, and then there'll also be times where you're frustrated with shots. That is completely normal, and that happens to everyone. But the severity of those emotions will reduce over time. You just gotta get used to managing those. I have 3 survival rules when it comes to the mental game. The first one is to judge the rounds by a process, not the outcome. It is very easy to get frustrated with a bad shot or a bad round and feel like you want to quit. But I can guarantee that during that round, there will be at least one thing that went well. You need to hold on to that and build off it. Keep a wins list. You're gonna get far more out of the game if you're not harsh on yourself. So try and note down 3 things that went really well. That could be 3 shots, or how you managed a certain hole, or how you just didn't get into trouble. Anything that you can take from this as a positive is gonna help you in the long term. And finally, one bad hole doesn't make a bad day. If you score particularly high on a certain hole, it's important to not let that beat you down. This is bound to happen and is just part of golf. Even the pros have blow-up holes. It's just a matter of how they move on, which makes them a level above the rest. So if you do have a bad hole, acknowledge it, but move on. You have 18 chances of scoring well, so don't let that become an issue. Avoid the common first-year mistakes. Don't feel like you need to change your swing every week. Work with what you've got and go off what your coach tells you in terms of improvement. You don't need new clubs to fix your swing. Don't always practice one club. Make sure you warm up before a round or a practice session. There is no point going into this cold, especially on a round, because that's only going to hinder you and probably make you frustrated right from the start. Don't expect miracles with your shots. Manage your expectations, be happy with the good shots, but don't feel like every shot has to be the best one in the world. That's just not golf. Don't play from tees that are too long. This one is definitely an ego thing. Start at the front tees, and as you feel more confident, move your way back. The people you're playing with won't mind if you're teeing off from the front tees. Having no routine, no aim, or no focus. It is really important if you want to get good at golf to have some form of schedule to work towards. Exercise outside of golf. If you're not currently an avid gym goer or fitness freak, trying to add more exercise into a new hobby is already going to be difficult, but I can guarantee you that you will see the benefits in your golf game just by doing this. Going to the gym 2 or 3 times a week will help with your golf game in so many different ways. But if you can't get to the gym, doing yoga at home is an instant win. I've been doing yoga 3 times a week for the last 3 months, and I'm seeing huge progress. I'm feeling a lot looser in my hips and my shoulders, and I'm seeing an instant correlation with my golf game. So consider that if you want to improve your golf without being on the course. So if you want to survive your first year of golf, you need to look at it from a different perspective. It's all about building foundations for you to then develop in the following years to come. Make sure you're working on your swing, working on your short game, your putting, and just generally keeping the ball in play. If you can do those 4 things, you will see really good improvements right from the start. I'm about to start my 2nd year of golf, and I've got so much more to learn, and I'm excited to share with you everything that I develop over the next year. But I want to hear from you. If you're in your first year of golf, let me know what your biggest struggle is. So leave a comment down below and share what you're struggling with. And finally, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to follow along with my journey, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. I post videos every week of becoming a beginner golfer and the process of lowering my handicap down all the way to hopefully scratch. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.